All right, we'll call
And
the
then
meeting
Saturday,
order.
I'm going to,
First thing is to review and approve February sixth, 2024 minutes.
I move we approve the minutes as read.
Seconded. You got them there?
No, they're in that stack there somewhere, I think.
I just saw it. No?
These are, foreclosure letters.
Just handed them to you about 10 seconds ago.
Oh,
You
yeah.
the one who
There
did
they
that,
are, yeah. Found it.
didn't get too far away.
And next thing, we review and approve February 20th, 2024 warrants.
They be accepted as written.
Second.
All in favor? Next thing, signed proposal letters.
So we've got 4 proposal letters prepared to the homeowners, telling them to come in and talk to us about their tax situation. And I move that we sign them and send them out.
Second? All in favor?
Say that we have never put a person out of their house in the years that I've been on the board. We came close last year.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and sign
Yeah.
Finally, we got it, it's time to somebody paid off their foreclosure.
I like this one, where you suggested other help for him to
Yeah.
get, you know.
Here's one to sign there. this was a quick claim deed.
When you paid off the tax?
They did.
Good. Yep. All right, 79 pigeon report status. It's been pretty quiet over
It has.
there. Good.
And in fact, it's listed in the real estate agent, and it's listed as sale pending, I think.
So, yeah, I was on a couple, 3 dozen.
So,
That was cheap money, they'll probably just get it for the land, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Good spot.
Yeah, I hope, not somebody else that can go and cause problems.
go in there and clean it up or something.
Yeah, that's good.
The last time I was over there, everything was still there, all the junk around the garage and stuff. I'm wondering if the buyer gets the John Deere tractor with it.
There you go.
But, no, that's good news.
Yeah.
Pete Marion said it's been very quiet over there the last couple of months.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. After all this time,
I know.
putting up with that. Yeah. Broadband expansion.
Had an interesting discussion this afternoon with, let me get my notes. This was a discussion that was facilitated by James Rather of SMPDC, but most of the information came from a Kendra Grindle from the Maine Connectivity Authority. And kind of encouraged. She said that they're working to connect service providers with areas of the state that have, what do they call it? Got a name here for it. No connections and unserved connections to internet service.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him about the fact that Fidium Fiber is working its way up Douglas Hill Road. I don't think they've connected anybody, but they're talking to people about, do you mind if I put a drop from the pole to your house? What she explained is that there's some funding from the federal government that's being managed by the state that's going to be used to, I guess, encourage internet service providers to do the installation of infrastructure. And they'll be working with various providers asking for bids to, put in fiber optic. They're looking at fiber optic to the house. Fidium, I see, advertises that as too big up and down, so pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
She's going to give me some information to talk to somebody at Fidium, maybe to get an idea of what they're doing. But she said she's starting to see service providers try to be first. By getting in first, you get the, access to a community, or a territory. So it looks like maybe something's gonna happen. We talked about what's happening over in North Baldwin. As well, and what's happening with, Spectrum. Interesting. She said there's a new law on the books that says when you sign a franchise with cable provider, it's, you can quote 15 connections per mile instead of the old one of 25. And I'm pretty sure that Spectrum's franchise is due.
Oh, yeah.
So that might help a little bit. Watch this space, I guess. But I'm convinced that we're not going to be left out in the cold on the internet upgrades.
Good. We need it.
Yeah.
All right. Floodplain management ordinance update, personal policy ordinance, public hearing.
Yeah.
Set a date for that.
So the floodplain management ordinance, I think I chased it down pretty well. I sent some information to you, Joe, in an email maybe today.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I think, isn't that the planning board's job to have the public hearing, hold a public hearing on?
That's why I sent it to you.
Oh, okay. As you know, I disapprove of this.
I understand.
Because I view myself as a conservationist, and I think it's really bad to build in a floodplain.
Might be.
And I just wonder why we're making it so people can build in floodplains. I don't get it.
It's not necessarily making it so they can, but it allows people to buy flood insurance.
So they can't build in the floodplain unless they can buy flood insurance, or they want to run naked.
Well,
And so I see it as this allows them to build in floodplain.
Well, like I said, you.
May not be able to get flood insurance.
Because they won't be able to get flood insurance.
They can build.
So therefore the bank says we won't lend you money. So why are we making it so that they have washed out driveways that we have to replace? And, whatever else those problems are, and then their house gets washed away because a pine tree runs into it in a flood, and, they didn't figure that the walls had to be 6 feet thick, and so forth and so on. I mean,
I asked a bunch of questions from the folks at the state level, and they answered them, I think, to my satisfaction, which is that it doesn't just benefit those people that are in identified floodplains, it also benefits people who might have a culvert that periodically overwashes its bank and floods their basement or something like that. In fact, what they said was, there is somebody in Baldwin who has a national flood insurance program policy, and they're not in the floodplain. And without this ordinance, they cannot renew their policy. And so it could affect a lot of people. As weather changes, we're going to have water rising all kinds of places and washing around. And I understand that you object to it because you're subsidizing somebody else's.
I also object to it on conservation grounds. It's a bad place to put a house. One thing that happens when you put an obstruction in a flood is you get a rising of the water level. I mean, it's like you're defeating your own.
It doesn't just address those places, and that's the issue, I think, because it can affect anybody in town who thinks they need or wants to get a flood insurance through the NFIP.
So this is how politics is done, Bob. How about we put something in there that says you won't build in the floodplain? Just makes it against our ordinance to build in the floodplain.
You can do that.
So why don't we do that?
I think you can be more strict. So I've gone through, they've developed a draft ordinance. It's pretty much just an update of the previous one that we currently have. And I'm going to hand it over to you with all the answers, and if that's what you want to do. And
well, I'd rather ignore it.
Yeah, there's other issues that are.
I learned lessons from the congressman.
we would all like to ignore things.
What you do, right? You ignore it.
We'd all like to, but.
But, I mean,
I don't
so,
think it's a good
so
thing.
what we need is verbiage that's legal that says that we can't build in the floodplain. And then your people who aren't in the floodplain who want flood insurance can get it, and we don't get any more houses in the floodplain.
Yeah.
Would you support that, Bob?
There are houses right now that are in the floodplain.
Would you support that?
I don't know that I would, no.
Okay.
But,
Then I can't support the floodplain ordinance.
So what do you do with the houses that are already existing in the floodplain?
Well, apparently, there's only one that's, and it's not even in the floodplain. None of the houses in the floodplain have insurance. I don't think we have any houses in the floodplain.
yeah, we do. We got a number of them, and most of them
No
are.
insurance.
Well, there's the one, Pickle Lady, certainly is.
Pickle farm.
And there's a number of them on Douglas Hill Road, and there might be some more, but it's, you have to pull up the maps and look, turn the overlays on and off and see what's underneath them, but, yeah, there's some out there. And
You could put in an ordinance that says no further construction in the floodplain.
That's what I'm asking Bob, if he would
So
support.
that would cover the people that are already there,
Yep,
but would not allow an expansion.
the issue is, say I've got a house that's in a floodplain and want to sell it.
so.
If a person can't get a loan to buy it, no one's gonna buy it.
Okay, so what about new construction? Are you supportive of new construction in this floodplain?
Probably not, because most of it is in what we call the shoreline zoning.
Right.
So Bob, we're in agreement here. We're in agreement.
No, I don't think we are totally.
Well, you just said that you didn't think there should be new construction in the floodplain.
Yeah, but
Didn't you?
is there no construction, and there are currently houses in there.
Did you say no new construction in the floodplain? Is that agreeable to you?
I'm not voting on it, and I'm not the town. What I'm saying is, Joe, I think it needs to be put in front of the people and get their point of view.
I agree with you. And I'm trying to get an understanding between this, which I think is possible. Bob, the things you're saying say it's possible,
Joe,
the problem is
I will say
agreement.
this directly. It's not an agreement between you and me, it's between the town.
Okay.
People who would vote on the ordinance.
Okay,
And so, if you wanna put something in an ordinance and put it out there, go ahead. I don't personally think you should lead that way, but it's up to you as the planning board chairman.
well, I would
turn it
ask
over to
the
you.
planning board and.
I'm not, I don't
then-
believe that as a town we should ignore it, which is what you said.
So I would put it to the,
We got beyond that. That was just
City,
inside.
cities like to ignore it.
Right,
If
exactly.
you can.
Yeah, not that it will, of course, yeah.
so I would discuss it with the planning board.
Yeah, but, and the ordinance, I think you've gotten it already digitally. The draft ordinance, I think you've gotten digitally. The questions and answers that went back and forth with the state, I think I've sent to you. If you haven't seen them, let me
That's
know.
I haven't seen it, I haven't seen it.
Well, what he's saying is he's sent them to you in an email, so maybe you haven't
Yeah.
opened up the email or looked at the email yet, that's all.
Trying to get everything through, all the questions that I could come up with, is to say why we should or shouldn't do it. And, so.
But
Yeah, I know.
is it fair to, I mean, if you do have existing homes in floodplains, I'm not saying that you do or you don't, but it sounds like there may be one. So if you completely eliminate that for that poor person that's already there, is that fair? I could see maybe the new construction possibly.
Right, so we
Right.
got there, that's what we got already.
Right.
Yeah.
That if you already have a building, God bless you,
Mhm.
you got a building.
And then we're up against.
But what about
these
new construction?
storms where places that are, it's unprecedented, you know, and we're gonna see that a trend, I mean, look at California. I think it's everywhere, so that places that weren't necessarily, near streams or water, water runs down mountains, and Baldwin has a lot of hills, so.
You notice that?
So, you know what I mean, so before, that's not considered floodplain, but it is an area of perhaps runoff if it's not diverted properly, or if things have changed to
It's a bit of a hypothetical, because
Right.
the ordinance addresses what you have to do as a town in terms of managing construction in a floodplain.
Right.
It doesn't say you can't, but it says if you do, you gotta do these certain things,
Right.
make sure houses are jacked up and turned the right way and so forth. And, go through a bunch of inspections and whatnot, and so through that process, it doesn't say that the individual has to buy flood insurance to build the house. It just says that the town has to have that ordinance on the books for a person to buy insurance. And also, if somebody up on Brown Road keeps getting washed out and they wanna buy insurance, flood insurance, the town has to have that ordinance.
So I listened to you, Bob.
Yep.
And.
So, I mean, the question here, hypothetical, is, doesn't really apply to the ordinance per se, other than if we don't have the ordinance, that person can't get any flood insurance through the national program.
I listened to you, and I listened to Robin, and I said, okay, how about we say no new home construction, no new dwelling units are allowed to be built in the floodplain. Old dwelling units are allowed to be repaired, replaced, sheds, barns, whatever. And I'm asking whether that gets any support as a compromise here, as an approach that wouldn't cost the town as much money, wouldn't cost us any more federal tax dollars, which is where a lot of this lands, and it's why I'm so opposed to building in the floodplain. Yes, they have problems in California, they have problems along the Mississippi, and these are problems that are, every time there's a disaster declared, the federal government comes running in and pays for it, out of my pocket, and that's why I'm upset about it.
So.
I don't think it's fair.
Look at
I don't
the-
get to live on the seaside, you know, somebody else does, and I pay for it, every time their house gets washed away.
Exactly, but the poor folks, like at the end of Senator Black Road, that is because of these unprecedented storms, historically have not had problems, but we've had the same people come in more than once where their land has been completely washed out because of these storms, at the end of Senator Black Road. I mean, so that's an unusual occurrence. So for those people to not be able to have insurance, if it looks like looking ahead, they're not in any floodplains.
I've already
They're not in
conceded
the
that,
floodplain,
Robin.
right.
I already conceded that.
Yeah.
I already said yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing you can do, and we've got coastal land, not for this town, but you got a catastrophic flood that takes down a house, and they get paid by this flood insurance, so it's all paid off. Maybe you don't let them rebuild there, they gotta build someplace else. But meanwhile, the existing ones can get the flood insurance, so they're covered when it washes away. But it's a one-time thing, you can't every year when you get washed out, have your house rebuilt by the government, that's kind of not fair. I hear what you're saying. We're definitely restricted against new construction in what we consider flooded areas.
Yeah,
I think that's a reasonable approach, and it allows people that are already in homes in that area to stay there until it washes away.
I think I saw the news the other night that in California, a gentleman had been washed out like 4 times,
Right.
rebuilt in the same area. That doesn't make sense at all. I mean,
This is
Now,
what I'm
the
talking
beach-
about.
yeah,
I wouldn't want to
and
do it.
like you said, your tax money, my money is paid for all those times he's being rebuilt.
Well, what you're gonna see is that they're gonna stop covering for everybody, or everybody's rates are gonna go up across the board because of
Well, I
the
think
situation in California, or fires in Florida, or wherever.
the purpose of these ordinances, are to cut down on people building in a floodplain, and to make, or to cut down on the damage that they experience when a flood happens. So they've gotta build to a certain standard, and they've gotta orient their house in a certain way. Whether it'll mean taxpayers floods on the other side of the world, I doubt it, because we know it's gonna flood other places a lot more than it floods here. And, but it's an interconnected world, we all depend on each other, various programs, taxpayer programs, one on another, so. But like I said, I would, as a planning board, I would recommend that you do what you're gonna do with it, but put it in front of the people that vote on it. Have a public hearing, explain yourself, and then that's the way it is, that's the way they should happen.
The other is the insurance companies are now starting not to pay. They're not insuring. They're saying, if you're gonna keep on doing this, we're not interested. We will not give you insurance. They're just, rug, gone.
And I don't blame them either.
I don't either.
No. Yeah.
Malibu Beach is one of the biggest offenders. They've got tons of money, they think they can put it there, you add water, it's just a slippery slope. There's nothing to hold that,
Yeah.
that land together.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the beast.
So,
So I think it's gonna knock itself out of their running.
well, the other one is our personnel policy. And I think we've been through it, and we need to hold a public hearing for it. And vote on it. So that we're rolling on approved rules. Put it out there for a while so people can read it. It's pretty thick by now.
You want to set a date tonight?
Yeah, looks good.
Doing one of our workshop meetings,
Yeah.
27th. No,
26th of March, maybe?
26th of March, sounds good to me.
Is that for the hearing first?
Yeah.
Are you gonna schedule the special town meeting piece of it now, or wait,
I think we should wait and see what the
hearing says?
hearing's on. You never know. The last one went pretty smooth, but, they get a chance for people to give us some feedback. That's what the hearing's for.
Audit report, annual budgeting, budget review, Wednesday.
Two things in there. One is, I've done a rough draft of the budget, and it's very hard to do without an audit report.
Oh.
Suggestion that maybe we think next year holding the town meeting at the end of the fiscal year, or after the end of the fiscal year, so that we can get at least a preliminary audit report. So that would mean sometime after July 1st. It's something to think about. What I've been told is that, we heard last night at Tri-Town that, Porter at least has a contract with R.H. Smith that says they do a quick audit within 2 weeks after the end of the fiscal year. So, I'll have to look and see if we've got a contract somewhere. I think we do. But I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
The other one is that we got a budget review meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
3.
Yep. All right, now welcome to Baldwin side.
And Stroke, Wallen volunteered to fill us some new signs.
Who did?
Ken Stroud,
Really? Cool.
he was the guy that
Yeah.
we helped with his foreclosure last year. He's a carpenter. I haven't seen any of his work in detail. I saw a little bit when I was looking at his house. But, you know, we paid quite a bit. What did we pay last time for those?
3,000.
Yeah.
For both of them.
And 1,500 each.
Yeah.
That's
including the other stuff.
It's gonna be a tough budget year. Get one or more done.
Hey, Bob, does that include both signs, where my property is?
There was a sign, over near Ingles Pond.
Yeah. There's one on my property when you come in to go over. The sign's rotted, it got blown over in the wind, I tried to put it up, but it's rotted.
It's rotten.
Yeah, I think they're all, and even.
Yeah,
It needs to be replaced.
eventually, the one over, Route 11, Rollins Savannah line is getting soft too, so eventually it'll all have to be replaced.
We're taking to them all, because I know one on my property needs to be replaced.
Yeah,
And the one on the Cornish line there too, is one of the ones that got.
yeah, that's one way, yeah.
So anyway, have them do one, see how it turns out.
Yeah. We did get insurance money for that, right? We did.
Now, the ones that are rotted, is it just the posts? Can the posts themselves, the signs
Ones
themselves?
on my property were rotted pretty well, posts and so.
Oh, okay. That's too bad.
Yeah, they've been up there for 20 years.
Must have been up there for a while, because it's pretty well.
Yeah, was it during the Baldwin Bicentennial?
I think it was bicentennial.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've been up there a while.
2002,
Yeah,
22 years.
yeah,
Well, maybe not exactly a year, but close.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe that fellow could build us a pillory, if we ever catch the people,
Ah.
shot them up, we could put them out in front of them.
That's what I get, saw.
Yeah.
Saw.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the head and
Exactly,
skin.
that's what I forgot.
Down in front of the library.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tomatoes, eggs.
A blinking light, yeah.
All right,
I'll contact him and see if he
okay,
wants to give it a try.
I've got the original design, and when I sent the Stagel sign, I
Okay.
can email that to you and.
Good.
Yeah. Reminders, senior election tomorrow at 12, budget meeting tomorrow at 3, planning board 7 PM on Thursday. Yeah, you got anything?
No, it was just a thought that went through my head just now, you're talking about the signs. I was wondering about, like, you talking about just doing them in wood.
Well,
He's a woodworker, so I think.
Yeah, so what if you took 2 pieces of plywood or whatever you used, and then put a piece of sheet metal, really thick metal, between the two?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause isn't that what happened here? There was a little piece of metal that just was easily cut through.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
put something in there that's pretty solid, you know, you wouldn't be as likely to be able to destroy
Have
it.
some steel in there, yeah.
Sheet fence or something.
Maybe electrify it.
Well, I mean, like a piece of metal like that thick maybe, you know?
Yeah,
something
something really be hard to
Yeah,
cut with a
exactly.
Sawzall, yeah.
Other than that, no.
Okay.
That's a good
Thank
thought,
you.
I'll talk to him about it.
That was, yeah.
I don't think we need the picture on both sides this time.
We do
Right,
not,
no.
no, just
I-
say, thank you for coming, or something on the opposite side, you know?
Well, I read the original invoice and it says one side, but they did two. Kathy?
Just, that we should do the candidates night before the election.
Okay.
Before the meeting, town meeting.
Yep.
Start thinking about those
Yeah.
sort of issues. Okay.
So if you do change the day of the town meeting,
Not this year.
thank you. August is a really full month. I have at least 2, sometimes 3 and 4 events I could go to every Saturday in August.
like the book sale.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
the tree farm has their crowning of their new, tree farmer of the year, and Sloan has an event, and it just goes on and on, because the weather is beautiful. One of the past presidents of Sloan was a statistician type, and found out that the second Saturday in August is the least likely of the days of the year to have rain.
Really?
Yes. So,
Just
that's
saying.
my plea not to put a town meeting, you know, in there. Do it at a Sunday night if you have to.
There's a very narrow window, because, it's the way the state sets this whole thing up with a July 1st date, which sets the ownership of the property. And so you've got a certain amount of time that it takes the assessing agent to get all the records and stuff together. And then we have to pass our budget, and then that gets married up with them, and then they, do the tax commitment in the end of August, I think, it's in like mid to end of August, so we've got a very small window. So,
Just
you know,
saying.
first couple of weeks in July, you know, but it
Would be bad
nice.
too.
Huh?
That would be bad too, but,
Fourth
you
of
know,
July.
4th of July, yeah, that'd be a good weekend to do it.
The,
I mean, just consider this, that's all I'm saying,
Yeah.
just consider that
No.
it's a tough, there are people take their vacations in August, they go away, and it goes on and on, I mean.
The other option is to put it later into the year. I think, Parsons Field goes on in September.
Yep.
And we could still get a tax bill out by the end of the year. And so the second bill would be before June 30th the following year, it would be an option. If you don't do it right after the end of the fiscal year, then I would say put it off for a while. But that would work, but let's get far away from the traditional March.
I'd agree with you, second Saturday in March is good too.
I wish I had the,
No,
X-ray vision to know what's gonna happen, but.
no, I understand what you've been doing, and, you know, getting things more aligned with modern life than when the second Saturday in March was decreed in which century, I don't know. You know, I mean, that's good, but, you know, just as we try to find a day when we're gonna have it proclaimed forever.
Yeah.
You know, next time. I'm just putting in a word, not August, please.
I think we could do September.
Well, I think that would have continued to work if we had kept our calendar year for taxes, but changing, you know, to the June, July, it makes things a bit more challenging with audit reports and all of that.
It was a struggle anyway to get an audit report,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I discovered that H.R. Smith does auditing for all the towns around here.
Don't they do the school district too?
Probably,
Wow.
and Tri-Town, and, so, I've been told that if you try to, put out a RFP for somebody else to do it, you don't get any responses, so, I don't know.
All right, anything else, Joe?
No.
Don, you have?
I'm good, thanks.
I got a few things, and at least one of them I think might be very encouraging.
I could use that right now, yeah.
As I tend to do with the bigger projects coming into town, I put a fair amount of time in with PW Trade, or interested in doing stuff across the road.
Yeah.
And as part of a parking lot, they need to have a place where the water can be stored, the runoff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of water over there, and I said, well, gee, maybe you could make a pond there, it kind of enhances the golf course. Well, that takes a couple of years. I said, well, we're talking about a new fire station sometime down the road right across the street, and can't you be interested in helping us with the fire pond? So they got in touch with the engineer, and there's a ton of water gonna be available, and if we can do the permitting as a town, they'll pay to put the whole thing in. There'll be an easement to the town, they'll have a place, they just need to coordinate with the fire chief.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you go to the state first, and it's for fire, primary uses is a fire pond, it gets streamlined and it cuts through a whole lot of red tape.
Oh.
So that all sounded good to me. And among other things they want to do over there, they're gonna have some buffers that they replant to keep them all at an optimum height. And they're gonna be, balsam fir. And as they replace them, they're gonna be offered free to nonprofits in town, like the library for Christmas and things like that. One of the other things, they're gonna have probably 6 events there a year, maybe. One of them, they've offered to have a town one, so it'd be like an old home day. You could use the trails for races and all kinds of different other activities. They wanna kinda give back to the town. And if we are inclined to let them use the town farmland, they would put a perimeter trail. They're gonna mark trees, they're gonna put up a whole lot of plantings, so you could do scavenger hunt for kids. There's gonna be like little gnome houses where they can find clues. They're gonna put up bird houses, bat houses, they're very much into environmental. And I know as far as these trails over here, they're gonna spend a lot more than you're charging the town for. They've got picnic tables on order for picnic area over here and some benches along these trails. And I'm gonna be talking with Chris Arrington about some log barriers to keep motorized vehicles, really, yes, I'm concerned about that. And the other thing is, they're buying another big parcel over there, the old gravel pit in Calvernell Road. And in the original CUP, they didn't want to have them grind up all the rocks, because the neighbors didn't want the noise ongoing. But it looks like a minefield over there now. And they're proposing to grind over the period of about a week or 10 days, bring in, Shaw Brothers can bring in a rock crusher and grind all of that up. And they'll use it over here and a few other places. They've sold some of their property already. They're gonna be moving some stuff over here. It's a matter of trying to coordinate things. A little work. But they've got some very good plans, I think.
Sounds good, yeah.
Overall, it might be very good for them.
When will they have beer on tap?
That's what everybody wants, isn't it? But it's kinda, I know speaking with the fire chief, we've had a few conversations since he started here, to try to coordinate things a little better. And I know that was a big concern about having a supply of water for fires.
Right, yeah.
A couple of them lately, and it'd be kinda nice if whenever you call that hydrant, they hook onto the truck with, to suck up the water. It's gonna be, at some point, right across from the fire station.
Yeah.
So it might be a really good thing.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we're working on. They seem like good folks, and they're planning to live in Baldwin, and they wanna be involved in town, and they've offered assistance where we might need it.
Very good.
They've offered all the returnables are gonna be donated, and they asked me what I thought would be a good use. I said, maybe that could be coordinated by somebody to use to buy equipment for kids for cross-country skis and snowshoes and whatnot. Because these trails and all are open to everybody for free, there's no charge for anything, across the way as well as over here. So,
Well, sounds like a good deal.
had some good conversations with them. Smoothed out a lot of things. The big 40-foot arrow with a flash of neon lights isn't gonna happen.
Plentiful like that.
I've been able to guide them about downward pointing lighting and things like that.
Yeah.
Different issues with the planning board might come up, or different things that may or may not fit too well with town, but they wanna go the extra mile. And I worked with them at length, getting all the applications together, so that'll help hopefully the planning board a little bit.
Yeah.
In getting that done.
Now, with the disc golf, is that gonna be open year round?
I believe they will, actually.
I know, I saw the news with, Pilot Farms.
I saw that.
They open year round, yeah.
Right, that's what the plan is.
Yeah.
And they're also gonna have mini golf there.
Oh, yeah.
They've also already got the, ice cream making equipment, they're gonna make it on site. And they're gonna have coffee and donuts. for
Hamburgers,
people in the morning.
beer, ice cream, what's not to
You
like?
name it, I'm ready to
When are they gonna start? Let's get them going.
I know, it's right across the street from the shop, I'm not gonna.
We're all gonna get fat, for sure.
Well, not if we run around the trail. While we're eating ice cream.
Running?
Walk fast.
What they're doing is they're retiring, and their idea of retiring to this is sort of like you're kind of taking my mind. But they've got several other people, and one, is gonna do the restaurant part of it, and the muffins and things, and they bought all the recipes and the equipment, and he's going to work for that. Different person's doing, the ice cream, which is gonna be seasonal, and, so he's got a number of people that are gonna be involved in it.
Wow, that's like a,
These guys are overseeing it more
Yeah.
than the rest of it. So it will be,
sounds like it's gonna be a pretty big place.
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Two rather large buildings, the larger one over here and another one down on Carlin L Road.
Oh, yeah.
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 So the planning board is gonna have those two. We've got Al Clark coming in for a revision of his conditional use permit. And then at the same time, we're trying to get ordinances together to be on the warrant for the town meeting. So I've begun communicating with Don that we should tell people to come in at 8 o'clock or 8:30. I don't want people sitting there through the marijuana ordinance discussion. You know, I don't wanna waste an hour of their time sitting there like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, I sit there sometimes and I watch this go on, and oh my God, you know, how horrible for these people it's gotta be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're kinda jammed up. And I find this happens every once in a while, you get jammed up. And then if you make plans to have extra meetings and clear everything, you find out you get nothing. You got absolutely nothing in front of you.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll just chew away at it.
Wow. Any else, Tom?
No, that's pretty much it. I think it was helpful to kind of get an idea of what they wanted. They had a huge number of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it saved probably 3 planning board meetings, because I could have answered most of them, which is what I did. And we've got it down to those 2 applications, so it'll make life a little bit easier. But if people complain about, they have a couple of pieces of equipment they may have to put in a gravel pit at Carlin L short term while they get things together, because they have to move some stuff on their property and run a business all at the same time. So we know what's going on with somebody else.
Yeah.
We've got to handle it.
So that must be the old Anderson pit?
It's the one.
Anderson's on the corner of Spur and Carlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's good, cause it's kind of an eyesore now.
It is. And a lot of it is just, like I say, the restrictions at the time was they couldn't grind anything there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they are gonna grind that up. Got a humongous pile of loam they've gotta put there temporarily, some of which will go here and some will.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Gonna keep me hopping. Or somebody, I don't know.
Chad, you got anything?
Nope,
Good?
not yet.
Okay.
Coming,
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Yeah. Steve? Chris?
Just that everything, all the trucks and equipment's been serviced, all been reserviced, oil changes, filters, all that. I did hear from Daigle and Houghton, whatever it is. Our truck should be on its final leg of being completed. I think it's going through an inspection process maybe.
Could be another 6 months, probably.
He's pushing for this week.
Oh, really?
And I was like, where did that come from? So,
Well, we kind of figured March at this.
well, I figured
Yeah.
March,
Yeah.
I figured the beginning of March, so we're a couple weeks ahead of where I figured, but
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised to hear from him that they were that far ahead, so we'll see where we're at with that, and other than that,
So we'll make our first payment this year.
well, according to the thing, it says, first payment due 1 year after the lease.
After the lease is signed.
Yeah.
So we'll just hold off and sign it.
I got a feeling he's probably gonna want it signed when they bring it down.
But it's 1 year after the lease is signed.
I think that's
If we
what's
sign
super-
it now, it'll be next spring,
Yeah.
when the first
Yeah.
payment's due.
So,
So we can charge $50,000 off the budget.
that'll help a little bit.
It will.
Don't get greedy, don't get too greedy with that number. I know how you like chopping numbers. Not now.
What did you see tomorrow?
All right, other than that, I think that's about all I got, I think.
Good.
So, all good news.
Yeah.
All the trucks are at the shop, everything's in service, everything's ready to go.
Yeah, the grader's still down.
Grader's still down, yeah, which, I'm gonna do a little bit of digging and see where we're at with that and what the plans are to go forward with it.
Yeah.
If it's a simple fix, I say a simple fix. $5,000 is gonna be a simple fix. So, then the other fix is like a lot more.
Yeah.
So then we gotta figure out what we're gonna do after that, but we gotta do a little bit of digging into it, I guess, a little bit further to see where we're at, so. We gotta pull the wing post, pull the fuel tank out, pull the four-wheel drive pump off, see what's inside that, see what went wrong there, and then to see where filings went after that. So it's brass filings, it's all through the filter. I mean, it looks like glitter. Complete unit. So the transmission, four-wheel drive, all the hydraulics run off that one.
Yeah.
The hope is, when I was talking to Scott about it, he said, the hope is that it came from the four-wheel drive pump, went back into the tank, and the filter caught everything after that. So it didn't go through anything else.
Yeah.
We won't know that until we get a little bit further into it.
We won't know until we dig into it some.
Right, so it's, to replace the four-wheel drive pump, he's figuring that it's gonna be the rebuild's, a couple grand. Which I don't think is too bad for what the machine is. I mean, the motor runs like a top and everything. But if we're talking four-wheel drive pump, transmission, and other stuff, well, that's gonna be a larger chunk of change, or maybe we just hire upgrading.
Mhm. Yeah.
We're not getting the big snowstorms like we used to. Pushing snowbanks really isn't a big deal, and with the big truck, we can pretty much stuff snowbanks where we want them anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
Well, but, yeah.
it'd be great,
Great roads with it.
if you put it out to bid, grade them twice a year, and York rake them in between, to maintain them a little bit here and there.
Right, right.
That's kind of the happy medium. It's a little bit of a downside to say, oh, I can't really go up and grade because I don't have one. So if it gets real rough between a real wet year, it's a little bit harder, but.
Getting material,
we can-
the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's, getting a good base is $1 million worth, but we'll see where we're at with that, but other than that, we're, thumbs up, green light.
Yeah. I was thinking about Marston Road today. What do you think to make that passable again? What's it gonna take?
What are you trying to pass over?
We have
Tesla.
Tesla?
Yeah.
About $65,000.
But I was thinking, if someone happened to want to build up there, we'd have to fix it.
Unless we vote to discontinue it now.
That's what I'm thinking.
And when the nice thing is that if you vote to discontinue it, the town can retain a public easement forever on it.
Right.
Which means the road doesn't ever get shut down. We just relieve ourselves of all financial and responsibility of it. And you can do that with any road, you just have to have the town's vote to do it.
Right.
And you can retain the PE, and from what I gathered, I think it doesn't matter whether it states it or not, it's an implied public easement for life, if you just continue it.
that, area of legality is being explored right now up in Augusta because people who own land on abandoned roads.
Well, abandonment and discontinuous, two different things.
Discontinued roads, roads that the town maintains a right of way on and yet doesn't maintain the road. Landowners are upset because they're paying to have the road maintained and the public has the right to ruin it. You know, and so,
It is.
there is a study committee appointed to see what they should do.
But that's, as right now, that's an option.
It's impassable now, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd have to put a culvert in.
Especially going by the campground.
Yeah, once you get past the last house there, it's
All rock.
All rock,
It's all
yeah.
ledge and rock and
How about
what
bridge?
isn't there.
Build a bridge.
Yeah.
Build a bridge way over.
Yeah.
Might be cheaper.
No, I just thinking of that today.
Yeah.
You know.
I would like to take a couple of loads of, tailings up there to dump in the brook, well, not the brook, but where the culvert's not washed out.
Yeah.
To kind of make that so it's not quite such a abrupt stop if anybody did go past the cones and barrels and barricades, which they keep running over and smashing up anyways with various whatever they want to drive.
Yeah.
But you get down there and you get down in that hole, you're gonna fall 6 feet into a cement, or it's not even cement, it's granite block box culvert,
Yeah.
so it'll hurt. I know one person that took their Jeep over it, but it's sketchy at best.
Now this end here, from McNeil Road up, is that passable? I haven't been up that way.
From McNeil Road up.
No.
You can get to the top of the hill,
So I gotta take,
last I knew.
a couple of people from Historical Society up there and show them the graveyard up there, so.
The Flint
Graveyard.
Graveyard, how many you gotta go to?
Well, there's one of them they missed. I know, no.
Yeah,
No.
right up there. So,
The one that's way in the woods. They didn't locate that one yet. I just don't know how far I could drive up there. Well, it's gonna be a hike. Anything else?
no, that's all I got.
Don, you got anything? No. Robin? Bob? Yeah? Good. Well, executive session, I move the select board go into the executive session pursuant of one MRSA, section 5A, noted by half an hour, to discuss personnel matters. Second. All in favor?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
They're in the process of having all that survey.